Hi, my name's Kevin, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about railroad date nails. A date nail is a nail, usually steel, about 2.5 inches long, with a number on its head. The number represents the year that the tie was put into the track. Now, these date nails were used by the railroads from about the 1900s to the late 1950s and 1960s. Not every railroad used date nails. The date nails were found on the top of the ties, usually inside the rails or on the outside of the rails, and each railroad had a different placement that they liked to put their nails. Not every tie had a nail in it, but they were used to tell the railroads how long a tie would last. For instance, if you had a nail that had a number 34 on the head, it would indicate that that tie was placed in the track in 1934. Some railroads started using date nails earlier than others. I'm specifically going to talk about the Chicago Milwaukee Railroad. My father worked for that. They started putting nails in the ties in 1908 with a variety of bigger head steel nails that had a letter and a number on them. They had an R08, which stands for 1908. Some people believe that the R stands for the type of wood that was used, a red oak. They had an R9, which would stand for 1909, and a variation of an R8. They also had an A8 and an A9, which some people believe that the A stood for ash, which was the type of wood used. They tried different treatments as well on the type of woods that they put in, because they wanted to see how long a tie would last using different techniques. So the Milwaukee Road also used what was known as a Z8, a Z9, which stands for, some believe, zinc oxide, perhaps, that was put on the tie to make it last longer. And they also had a Z28, which was put in the tie in 1928, and an X9 and an X10. Now, they started using copper nails in 1927 through 1949. And they had a variation of different nails that they used during that period as well. The 1949 is a smaller shank than what was used on a different railroad. Some railroads use similar nails that you really can't tell the difference, but the Milwaukee Road also used a few code nails, and what the code nails were used for is usually in the bridge timbers to mark different bridges and whatnot. The rarer ones were the 1908s, of course, the big steel heads, and then that 1949 is a little bit tougher nail. In 1929 they had what they call a sunburst 29. They had a few arrows coming off the 29, and that makes that one a little bit more tougher to find as well. The other railroads that I specifically like, because they're more common here in Iowa, are the Rock Island and the Illinois Central. The Illinois Central had a unique way of manufacturing their nails. They actually started using their nails, I believe, in 1906 or 1907, and starting in 1912 with the round head steel, they copied every 10 years with that. So the 1912 is a round nail, the 1922 is a round nail. The 1913 is a diamond shaped, it's called a diamond 13, and it repeated itself in 1923 with a diamond 23. In 1914, with the Illinois Central, they had a square, and in 1924 they had a square 24. The 1915 was a pentagon, and the 1925 nail is a pentagon. The 1916 is a hexagon, and 1926 is a hexagon. In 1917 they used a triangle, and in 1927 they used a right side up triangle and an upside down triangle in 1927. The 1918 was a unique nail. It was a bow tie. It was in the shape of a bow tie. It's the only railroad known to do this type of manufacturing of nails. So the 1928 was also a bow tie. The 1919 nail for the Illinois Central was actually in the design of a cross, and they repeated that in 1929 with a cross 29. And then they stopped doing that after that period of time, using just routine nails that were circular. They had all steels, but those unique types of nails for the Illinois Central are the more rare ones that it's very difficult to find.